Welcome back to the Enlightened Hearts podcast. I am Atlas, and I am so incredibly grateful you're taking a few minutes out of your day to sit down and unpack the Word with me. I'll be your host for the near future as we walk through these readings together. Before we dive into the deep end, do me a quick favor. If these reflections are helping you ground your week, hit that subscribe button. It keeps our community connected, and it makes sure you never miss a step on this journey. You know, we live in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with the aesthetic. We curate the perfect social media feeds, we polish our professional resumes, and if we're being completely honest, it is so easy to do the exact same thing with our faith. We build this beautiful leafy canopy of religious busyness. We say the right words, we show up at the right times, and we look perfectly holy from the outside. But today's gospel from Mark, man, it gives us some serious theological whiplash. Jesus is walking into Jerusalem, and he sees a fig tree covered in lush green leaves. Now, biologically, those leaves were a promise. They signaled that underneath the foliage there should be early edible fruit. But when Jesus gets close, there's nothing. It's an empty promise. So he curses it, and it withers to its roots. Look, I know that it feels harsh, right? Like a divine temper tantrum because the Messiah was hungry. But Jesus isn't being petty. This is a staged prophetic performance piece. Because right after this, he walks straight into the temple and starts flipping tables, scattering coins, and driving out the merchants. The tree is the temple, and the temple is the tree. Jerusalem was humming with religious activity. Thousands of pilgrims, shifting currencies, the rhythmic perfection of the Levitical priesthood, a magnificent canopy of external performance, but inside, it was a marketplace of transactional religion, completely devoid of the actual fruit God desires, which is a broken and contrite heart. In the Catechism, in paragraph 2111, talks about the danger of superstition and empty ritual. It reminds us that when we reduce our worship to mere external mechanics without an interior conversion of the heart, we completely miss the point. We become like that fig tree, all leaves, no fruit. St. John Chrysostom, one of the great church fathers, used to hammer this point home to his flock. He said that God doesn't need gold vessels on an altar if the temple of our soul is empty of charity. True worship isn't about managing our religious reputation. It's about raw reality and simple, unadulterated faith. And that brings us right back to the great I Am. Throughout history, God has consistently revealed himself not as a distant bureaucrat demanding a perfect checklist, but as the source of life itself, the one who desires intimate, covenantal relationship. And where does that relationship culminate? It points directly to the Eucharist. Look at how completely different those two realities are. The temple system was complex, expensive, and exclusionary. But in the holy sacrifice of the Mass, Jesus distills everything down to a piece of bread and a cup of wine. He strips away the transactional barriers. In the Eucharist, we don't bring a perfect religious resume to trade for grace. We bring our hunger, our bare, unfiltered brokenness, and he gives us himself. It is the ultimate sacrament of reality over performance. Today, we also honor Pope St. Paul VI. He was a shepherd who had to navigate the massive cultural and structural changes of the late 20th century during Vatican II. And his entire mission was exactly that, a great distillation. He labored to trim away historical triage and bureaucratic leaves, so that the modern world could clearly see the radiant, uncomplicated face of Jesus Christ. The Apostle Peter summarizes this beautifully in our first reading. He tells us that because the true temple is now established in Christ, the way we treat one another is our primary act of worship. Above all, let your love for one another be intensive. Be hospitable to one another without complaining. So let's take notice and audit our own hearts today. Let's step out from behind the defensive foliage of our pretense and let Christ look at the reality of our lives. And to help us sit with that truth, Here is a short, contemplative haiku to carry into your prayer space today. Green leaves mask the void. Faith commands the mountain fall. Love bears fruit within. Thank you again for listening. As you go about your day, keep your eyes open, keep your heart real, and stay tuned for our next Trench Reflection blog post. We're going to be looking at Mark chapter 11, verses 27 through 33, where the religious authorities try to corner Jesus about his credentials, and he completely flips the script on them yet again. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, peace be with you.